Hola amigos, ¿cómo están? Bienvenidos a Dejando Huellas. Y es más, debería decirles, el segundo programa de Dejando Huellas Internacionales. Este programa va a ser en inglés. Así es que me van a escuchar hablando en inglés, pero no se preocupen, ya van a salir subtítulos ahí, así es que ustedes van a entender perfectamente todo lo que estemos platicando, porque además tenemos una mega invitada el día de hoy. Hoy, pues es un sueño hecho realidad, porque pues una de mis entrenadoras favoritas, mientras estuve tomando el programa de Tony Robbins, fue Connie Osterholt. Y hoy la tenemos aquí. Toda una institución en coaching, en desarrollo humano, está con nosotros. Así es que a partir de este momento hablo en inglés con todos ustedes y le damos la cordial bienvenida a Connie Osterholt. So, welcome, Connie. It's a pleasure to have you here on Dejando Huellas.
Thank you so much, Ricardo. I'm excited to be here, and I could understand most of what you said. So that was wonderful. Thank you.
So you're making me practice my English. So let's see how it works.
Yes, and I might have to practice my Spanish. Yeah.
Right. So please tell the people, tell the audience how we met each other.
As far as I remember, Ricardo, it was one of the Life for Wealth programs in Fiji, right?
Right.
Yes, so you're from Mexico. I'm from the Netherlands. I believe I still lived in the Netherlands or the US. I don't know the year anymore. But we traveled all the way to this tiny island in Fiji to meet for a beautiful seminar from Tony Robbins that I was leading. And I remember that we had a great connection. I don't know how that was established, but from the moment we were connecting, there was a connection, and I think it's maybe because we share the same passion.
And it has been great. I mean, all these years that we've been, talking and always cheering each other, and especially in these times that are so challenging. How have you been, Connie?
I've been good. It indeed has been a challenging year. But on the upside, I do a couple of things. I coach, like you said, I speak, and I also train people in certain skills. And the speaking, of course, was very different. People not be able to travel, and speaking on Zoom and on StreamYard here and all kinds of other things. So speaking was different, but it still was there. And coaching, everybody needed coaching way more. It was just a necessity for people to go through whatever they needed to go through. And it was very different for different people. But they all could use a little bit of help to adjust to the new times in a way, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody needs help, including us, right?
Oh, yes. I have 3 coaches. Yeah, so yeah, everybody needs that.
And let me tell you that Connie has a wonderful background. So please tell us, Connie, tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, I started actually as a teacher. I've been, when I was way younger, of course, I have been an athlete. I played national level hockey and badminton, field hockey that is. And then I got into teaching, which was wonderful because I had small children. But it was too limited. So I started, and psychology was always one of my favorites, right? So I started studying NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a form of solution-oriented the theories, psychology that Tony uses as the base of his work as well. And through that, I heard Tony's name. So I worked for 25 years for Tony Robbins as a speaker, as a coach, as a master trainer. And then I started, in the midst of all of that, and I think that is now almost 10, 20 years ago. Yes. And I started studying something called psychoneurology, and that's just the science of the brain in a very holistic way, because I was always intrigued what's going on in here, right? And studies have shown that you live only 5% a day in your conscious mind, with your intellect, and 95% you operate from that subconscious brain where everything is stored. There's no control, no judge. So there's a trigger and boom, you react. Everything is stored there from the time you were born till now. So you might react to something right now as a 7-year-old, and that definitely wouldn't serve you anymore when you're 40 or older, right? So I studied how to detect those patterns, and I could quickly learn through practice as well to see the patterns that are working for somebody in life, in business, in relationship, in health, everywhere basically, and the patterns that don't work. So with a couple of skills, you can easily turn those patterns that are not working, turn them into something that is serving you and that's working for you. And that's been a great pleasure to be able to do that.
Wow. Wow. Imagine that, right? You say only 5% we're on the prefrontal cortex, right?
Yeah.
And 95% is subconscious, right? So we need to work. We need to train our mind. We need to train ourselves in order to be happier, right? And to work in a better way. That's fantastic, Connie. That's fantastic. Right. So how many children do you have?
I have 2 sons, and they still live in the Netherlands. They have been kind of raised in the Tony Robbins environment. They walked the fire when they were 5 and 8.
Right.
And that is one of my great pleasures, that they grew up with an open mind. They traveled with me a lot, so they saw different cultures, and they learned through osmosis almost about psychology and about how to train your mind, how to focus, etc. So that's one of my great pleasures.
Fantastic. And how did you, I mean, you're living in the States now, right? In California?
Yes. I live in Los Angeles, and I always worked for the past 25 years with a number of American companies. And when the kids were done, they were ready to live their own life. I mean, I'm always staying their mom, but I don't have to take care of their daily things anymore. I moved to the States because it's easier for business. And in my country, Ricardo, you might know that it rains a lot. A lot of gray skies and drizzle, and I like the sunshine. So it's, I made that move.
And tell me a little bit about your childhood. How was it?
I think I had a good childhood. I don't know if you know anything about family dynamics. I was the middle child. Wow. So, and in my family, the focus meant a lot to my older sister because she was in trouble a lot, and my younger brother because he had very bad eyes, eczema, and I was the lucky child who could just maneuver in between and basically do my own thing. But also as a middle child, you learn how to negotiate. Because you're almost, in my family, definitely, I was the odd one out, right? So the oldest and the youngest were together, and then there was me. I was very independent already. I think my mom called it stubborn, and and I think I have been not easy for my mom. And but I loved doing what I wanted to do, and I was a nice child, get me right, I was not a horrible child. I was nice, but I still had a very good idea what I wanted and what I didn't want.
Wow. And tell me, how was this encounter with Tony Robbins? How did you start working for him?
Through NLP. So I studied NLP for a couple of years, and then I heard his name, Tony Robbins, and I Googled him, and Tony Robbins gave seminars, information I got, in Hawaii for $10,000. And I was going, well, Hawaii is the other end of the world. $10,000 I don't have, so not going to happen, right? But then the next year he came to my country, and I wanted to go, and I couldn't get the days off work. So I was so upset that I said, next time I'm going to be there, no matter what. Yeah. So half a year later, he came to Belgium, and I'm not ashamed, a little bit maybe, say I called in sick and went through his seminar in Belgium, and when I just entered and went through that first seminar, the UPW. It was a combination of psychology, of physiology, right? Or making sure your body is in a good state. And I was going, this is just what I like. So I signed up, did all the seminars, and trained with him, and eventually started working for him.
Well, that's fantastic because I remember when we were in Fiji, and let me tell you, Connie was one of the staff, the professors there, right? And I mean, this methodology is fantastic. It has something that I don't know. It makes you feel alive. Like I don't know. The combination is terrific. How did you feel when you were there, when you were teaching these seminars?
It was fabulous. I mean, there's no other word for it, really. The part of me liking to be a teacher, right, kicked in.
The combination, right?
The combination, but also the physiology part, which I was used to as an athlete, right? Because, when you do sports or work out on a certain level, you get the good feelings, the good
Right.
hormones, the endorphins going on in your body. And then the psychology. I always liked figuring out what is like going on, what is making a person tick. So the combination is very intoxicating. And then my mission is really to help people see their own possibilities.
Wow.
And those are far more than most people can see. So to help unlock the participants with the theory, with the teaching, with the physiology training, but also by asking questions and sometimes do a little mini intervention to make sure they are going where they want to go, but didn't know how to.
Yeah, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. How many? 20 years, 25 years.
I worked 25 years for Tony Robbins.
Wow.
And I think I led and facilitated about 100 of the lives and wealths and doing leadership programs. So a lot. And Ricardo, I'm very, very proud because it's still in the speaker world, it's still a little bit of a men's world. And here I am, a woman with an accent, right? And I know everybody has accents, but when you live in America, I have the accent, right? So being a woman with an accent and still be able to be on his stage and teach his stuff, I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I mean, every time that I talk to Connie, it's a great opportunity for learning, for reflecting, for I don't know, looking at things at different ways, and that's what coaching does, right, Connie?
Absolutely. Coaching is, how would I start that? I think that most of us in general, right, we're not always living in awareness. We're not always present to what we do and say and behave and act. And that's how the system is set up. Because even when we're sitting here, you have so many things coming into your brain, what you see, what you hear, what you smell, and that is too much for your brain to handle. The sensory input is ridiculous. So we can't simply handle it. We're not built for it. So we've learned to delete, distort, and make sure that we only focus on a little bit of the information. That's all we can do. We can focus on 6 to 7 things at the same time, men and women equally. So, but when you get hundreds and hundreds of inputs, 6 and 7 is really nothing, right? So the system helps you by deleting, distorting, but also making habits that are getting stored in your subconscious mind. So you don't have to think about it. The reaction is automatically. You don't have to think about making your heart beat, about breathing, normally. And you don't have to think if you have a job and you drive to your job every day, you don't have to really think how to get there. And sometimes even when you have a different appointment, before you know you're on the way to your job and not to the appointment, right?
Right.
Those are all habits. And most of the habits are probably great. There's some that are okay, but there are definitely habits in there that are not okay. There's habits that keep you small, maybe. I had a client and he was from Africa and he moved to London when he was, I think, 16 with his family. And he wanted to create very wonderful a wealth program for children, how to teach them to deal with money, how to do that, right?
Wow.
In school, they don't have that. But all he could hear, and he wanted it, and he didn't do it. So we worked together, and what we found out is that he was conditioned with the best intent by his father to say, play it safe. Play it safe.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't
make
take
sure you're
risks.
noticed. Don't make waves, I'm not sure if you're good enough for the big things. And that was just his father said that over and over again. The intent might have been wonderful to protect his son, but as a grown-up, as an adult, he was still stuck in that same mindset that didn't help him move forward. So those are the things that are holding you back in relationships, Ricardo. When you enter a new relationship, it's all great, right? It's all like, for most people, it's all butterflies and romance and wonderful. You want to be with each other all the time and you love each other. And then some of the old habits from maybe past relationships are kicking in. It's a certain look or a certain saying, or when somebody is not texting you every day. Right? And you go like, oh my God, my past relation texted me every day. So I was certain of this love. He's not texting or she's not texting.
It
That
doesn't,
must mean, that he
right.
doesn't
She
love
doesn't
me.
love me, right?
Exactly.
Right,
And those are all patterns that are kicking in automatically and are not serving you.
right. How can we create these new habits that are good for us?
Well, first off, be aware.
Be aware, right?
Be present to what you think. Be a guardian at the door of your mind, right?
Right. I love that.
Be the observer almost. And just analyze. And sometimes we can do it in the moment when we're good. It takes some time. But definitely afterwards, well, hey, analyze your reactions, your behavior. Was that what I really wanted to convey? Is that how I want to come across? Was this the best way to deal with this situation? Was it the most efficient way? Did I make everybody feel included? How do I get everybody into the right direction? So it's kind of an analyzing of your style, because we love the habits, right? We love to operate in our own style. We don't have to think, we just do. But if you very roughly, if you know what a DISC test is, right? It's kind of a behavioral test. And there's 4 big components. So
Okay.
if you operate in one style, then you miss out on the other 3. So you reach 25% of the people and not the 75%. So it's an awareness of your reactions, awareness of your styles, an awareness of what you do and what you do not do. And then make sure you are flexible in your approach. So it serves the outcome, it serves the result, and it serves you and the team. So you might speak to one person in a very different way than you speak to another person.
Right.
That makes sense what I'm saying? If not, you
Absolutely.
intervene, right? Yeah.
No. Thank you. And I know that you have coached many people, and
Yes.
part of your mission is that you have worked directly with business leaders, right?
Yes.
Business women, right?
Yes.
So tell me about your experience, because it is great that you have this opportunity to make them grow, to make them see, something different. So
Right.
how has this experience been, and what are the learnings that you have had with them?
Right. And I'm speaking in general, right? So
Right,
there's
in general.
always exceptions.
Right.
So there is this thing whether you have more masculine or more feminine energy. Same goes for men, right? And it is what it is. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is. But it's being perceived that business is still a men's world and that we women are just entering, right? And in the past, women thought if I just put on my masculine energy, I'm just like the men in business, I'm getting more accepted, I'm getting more done. But when people feel that you're not aligned with who you really are, they feel there's something off and they don't necessarily trust you or want to do what you ask them to do. And in general, right? Because we have all ends of the spectrum. So actually the mutual answer is to really tap into your own energy and be congruent with who you are. But then for women, I think, and that's my belief, Ricardo, and as a man, you might agree or not, but I do believe that we women can change the dynamic between men and women in business. I think that we have a chance to adapt in a different way to make sure all the preconceived notions that we think are not true, or we don't take it personal. And an example is, for instance, when you enter a meeting, men, women, maybe predominantly men, it really doesn't matter. And one of the men says, honey, get me a cup of coffee. So a lot of women would be, oh my gosh, he doesn't see me as an equal, and I'm not the secretary, I'm not the coffee lady. And they would be insulted, and they react from that place, which is never a good thing, to react from not feeling well, right? So a lot of things are happening like that. And we have a learned behavior as women, men too, but I'm talking about the women. We have a learned behavior, how to react to it. And most of the time that is not really inappropriate or a great reaction to get the result you want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a little bit of my mission, to see and to help women how they can stay in their own energy while dealing with busy, stressful, sometimes business life, and not take any of the comments or behaviors personal, but know how to react, make it light, make it funny, go around it, but not take it on and feel unhappy or feel less or feel jealous or whatever they might feel, right? And I love that, because it's the same thing, right? Actually, there is conditioned patterns, how you should react to a remark, how you should react to a certain behavior. It's just conditioning. And when you react out of a conditioning, you don't have any choice. And I'd like people to have a choice, how I like to react, not because of my past conditioning.
I love what you do and what you say, because imagine, right, stopping all these habits, no, all these conditions that we have, right?
Yeah.
And you are, and you were for me, and you are always for me, like a person that you show the door, right? And sometimes you open the door, but I'm here, right? And you make me see that there is this light, this pattern, this path, and then I have to make the decision to go into that, right? And
absolutely.
And I love what you do, because that's what a coach does, right?
Yep, a good coach does that, and it's showing people how they can change. I had a client the other day, and she doesn't have the best of relationships with her mother, and she was just about to go and visit her for a long weekend, and she was frankly dreading it, because in her opinion, her mother was always putting her down, was saying hurtful words, and as a friend, you might commiserate and say, "Oh, poor girl," and "poor this." As a coach, I was able to help her see that what she took in, how her reactions, her feelings were being triggered, and that she had control over her reactions and over her feelings. She couldn't change her mom. Her mom is like, whatever, 85. It's not going to change when you're 85, right? And sometimes other people who are younger, you're not going to change them either. You can only change yourself. So at the end of our session, she said, well, you know what? I cannot take it personal, and I'm just going to put it aside. So that difference in decision, well, I'm not going to take it personal, or again, it's like, ouch, that hurts, that got in. And the anticipation of more hurt is like amazing. And it's just a little thing. So coaches are there to make sure you take a hard look at yourself sometimes, and you take responsibility over your feelings and your reactions.
I love that. And I have heard you say that you help women find their voice.
Yeah, in a way. It's more, it's a voice. Yes, you're right. But it's more teaching them how to communicate in a style that is authentic, and in a style that you can adjust, that is flexible enough to adapt to the team or the person you're talking to. So it's because a lot of women, and that is a woman thing more so, that when they feel they're not heard, nobody is listening to them, then they spin out, right? And a whole chain of reactions will follow that. But in order to be heard, you need to have some techniques, skills, and strategy to make sure that you are heard. Because if you feel that you're not heard, it's you that's saying that. But we are all like radio stations, and we broadcast what we're thinking and feeling. And people might not know exactly what it is, but they feel there is something off. So you have to make sure, everybody, that you're broadcasting the right news on your radio station.
Wow. Well, now I'm thinking, right? What does my radio station look like?
Yeah.
And whatever you have in your mind, it's what it's projected to, right? So
It is.
what kind of voice, no, do you want to project? What are you saying to yourself, right? What are your stories? And let me tell you that Connie is one of the best in creating those opportunities. And we're going to have you in Mexico next year, Connie.
Yay! I will study on my Spanish.
Right.
I'm not going to be fluent, but I'm going to understand a lot. Yeah.
And tell me, what can we expect from your workshop, from the workshop that you're going to do here in Mexico?
I think that definitely communication and leadership will be two of the main topics, but also very interactively how you can change your approach when you're not happy with the result you're getting. And then on top of it, I love speaking nowadays about fulfillment, because purpose and fulfillment. Why are we here? What do you do with the time you're here, right? As far as we know, we have this lifetime. I know there's a lot of thoughts and beliefs around it, but all we know is like you have this lifetime. I hope I'm having many, many lifetimes, but I don't know. All I can do is the best I can be in this lifetime. So how do you achieve your goals in all areas of life while being happy, on purpose, and being fulfilled? And it's not what I thought early in life. It's kind of some woo-woo, right? That only very spiritual people ever achieve. No, has a very practical side. And I'd love to teach people how they can access that meaningful, fulfilled, purposeful life while achieving everything they want. So that is...
We want you here. We want you here, and to start with that, how can we start preparing for this workshop next year?
I think the first thing is what I said again and again is be present.
Be present.
With your thoughts, your words, even your physiology, your focus, and your language.
Tell us some ways to be present. Because many people ask me, right? You say, be present, but how can I get access to my presence, to being here?
It's, in a way, very simple. It's breath. So you have to keep on breathing, right? Because a lot of people, when they are for an important meeting or meeting somebody important or whatnot, they tense up, right? So your breath gets cut off and you breathe very shallow. So that's one way you never can get present. So breathe. Maybe take a deep breath before you react or before you speak. Or if you have a certain result in mind and you do not exactly know how to react, say, excuse me, I'm just to make a quick stop at the restrooms. I'll be right back. And then you prepare yourself in the restroom, right? You can get yourself in the best state possible, emotionally, physically, and then come back and just trust how you can communicate and react. But for most people, the first reaction they have might not be the best one.
Right. So breathe.
Breathe.
Breathe. You were saying that and I was like, Well, that is fantastic.
Yeah,
And you have mentioned the physiology, right? That the
right.
physiology is very, very, very important. And sometimes I don't know about the States, but in Mexico, sometimes it's like it's two things, like the mind and the body, right? But it's like if they were not together, right? So tell us a little bit about the physiology and how it works for this fulfillment.
Yes, perfect. And sometimes they say, and that's with tongue in cheek, that the longest journey a man can make, specifically for men, is going from his head to his heart.
Right.
Right? But it's not only for men in reality, right? We pride ourselves so much on our intellect and on our mind and on be able to do these fantastic things. But it's the physiology is a big part of your communication, and I come back to how to access that, because you know that, right? Words are only 7%. Then you have like the tone of your voice, but then the bulk of it is your physiology. When I speak to you and I go like this, right? And I speak to you like this, that's not a very exciting way of connecting. Actually, it's non-connecting with you. You cut
Right.
it off. So the physiology is your energy you give out, and that is a huge part of the conversation. Right? So you need to train, maybe take a mirror and take a look at your physiology, take a look at the emotions you display, because there's a very different physiology when you're sad, and it's usually a little bit more like down and in, than when you're excited, right? You're open and you have a different energy coming out of you. So if you're really, really, really lay it down, it's like, what energy, what emotion do I need to feel, do I need to be in order to make this, whatever comes next for you, a success? So for a lot of people, the state they are in, and it's a state of mind, right, determines success or failure. So to access it, it's just, and you know how we do it at Tony Robbins, right? We just jump up and down and we make some movements and we shout a little bit. But for other people, it's subtler when you're in your office and you cannot do all of that. You take a little bit of water, you take a little bit of a walk, you go to outside, yeah, exactly. And you take some deep breaths, right? So you change your physiology, because lots of times when you work, you sit behind your desk, you sit behind your computer, not conducive to a great state after a little while. So everybody should take a break after an hour, right? To just stand up, to stretch, to breathe, to drink something, water or tea. So you can be the master of your own physiology. People like people that have like a more positive energy, right? And a more open energy. So it's like how you deal with your body is a great deal of your communication, and you can influence that. For those of us who are working out, great, keep on doing that. But the minimum we can do is take walks, take swims, do
Right.
something, right? Because you have to take care of this body, because it can help you so much, or it can work against you.
Right.
And it not necessarily has to do with your age, or if you're fully like, people get into accidents sometimes, but it's more the energy. It's more like the smile, the calmness, the present, the feeling in your heart or in the pit of your stomach. So practice, but make breaks, stretch, walk, little bit of water, breathe.
Right. And what about if we have this workshop outside of Mexico City, Connie, and we go, I don't know, to the countryside, so we can have all these practices there.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. And there's a ton of practices. There's practices for breath work. There's different ways of breathing, because we somehow in general have learned not to fully oxygenate our body, but just have a more of a shallow breath, right? And the exchange finds place in the lower parts of your lungs. And if you don't fully oxygenate yourself, your brain capacity is suffering, right? Because it doesn't get the oxygen it needs. So we do exercises for breath. We do some meditations, maybe. We do some sound healing, maybe. We do some yoga, maybe, or qigong, as a support of your physiology in order to function on a higher level.
That's a deal, Connie. So
Okay.
next year, Connie in Mexico, 2022, she will be here practicing her Spanish.
Claro que sí.
You see. Here I'm suffering with my English, and then you speak Spanish. And tell me, Connie, about your core beliefs.
My core belief is there's always a way.
There's always a way. I love that.
There's always a way. And sometimes we definitely need a little bit of outside help to find that way, but there's always a way.
I love that. There's always a way. Another core belief?
Another core belief is, I think it serves me. Is it really a core belief? Well, let me do the core belief and come to the other one first. That I am resourceful. So when I'm resourceful, I can access internal and external resources easily. But I am resourceful. I know how to get resources, emotions, people, things. I'm resourceful.
I love that.
And I think another one is I have an open mind, a growth-focused open mind.
Growth, focus, open mind. Wow, so powerful. 3 in 1.
Yeah. It reminds me of the Dalai Lama. He said, your mind works like a parachute. It only works when it's open. Right? So it's, right. Beautiful.
You use the word transformation a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does transformation look to you, or how you have experienced that?
A transformation for me is, and it starts with that open mind, right? Because otherwise you cannot access that transformation. But a transformation is a new approach, a new feeling, a new belief, a new physiology, a new way of leadership, a new way of communication. So it's for some people a transformation. That doesn't mean that it's completely new. I'd like to go to the core of people, right? To peel off the masks or the layers of conditioning. And when you get to the core of who people really are, a lot of the internal resources, they're already there. They're only like covered up by masks and by years of living differently. So it's not always new, but it is a transformation. And a transformation, I think, is what happens is you choose a different way. And I think that's the core of a transformation.
And the words that you're saying, right? You choose, right?
You choose.
You have the power of choosing, right? You have the power of starting something new.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You choose.
How many transformations have you had in your life?
Quite some. And it's, I also believe, it's not maybe my core belief, but I believe that life, the universe, source, God will put you to the test. And it's up to you how you do that test. But it's also that if you do not pass that test, there will be one more waiting. That might be a little bit tougher. If you do not pass that test either, that might be an even tougher test. So life is presenting you with opportunities for change. Because as you know, and many people say it, that life is changing. Look at the whole COVID time, right?
Wow. Yeah.
However it happened, whatever the theories are, but it was a very challenging, very different time for most of us. Right? So life is constantly changing. And if we're not adapting to the changes of life, we're getting behind. The way to get ahead is to make sure you take those tests that are provided for us, those opportunities to change. So you have a broader range of emotions and behavior and ways to react, of communicating, leadership. So it's easier to stay flexible with life's changes, to pivot faster, to adapt faster. So, and I think that is what our gift is that we all got, but a lot of people do not make use of that gift.
So that's the power of transformation through challenges, because in my case, instead of saying problems, I say this is a new challenge for you, right? What do you have to learn, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to take it, right? How long are you going to stay in that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is one, and you're hinting on something that's really important, because we also have the power and the choice of our emotions, right? I didn't know before I did all this work, I didn't know you could change your emotions.
Right.
So when something terrible happened, I was stuck in the sadness, the hurt of that emotions for quite a long time, because I didn't know I could change that.
Right.
So you have a choice what you like to feel, right? And of course, when something happens in life and you're not going, okay, yeah, I'm happy, right? That would be ridiculous. And we experience the whole gamut of all the emotions, right? In the English word, there's more than 4,000 words for emotions. I don't know in Spanish. But we have a lot of different emotions. And to get stuck in one that is not helping you, that is not serving you, is not the right thing. To experience it, to feel it, to sit with it, of course, but not to live in it. And sometimes, well, you know, when something sad happens, it takes a little bit of time. It does. But when something happens on the road, for instance, LA traffic is completely back or worse than it was before. And people are driving different here than in my country. So I used to get really upset when somebody was cutting me off or somebody did something, in my opinion, dumb, right? And that upset me. So I bore the burden of not feeling good. The people who did it, they didn't even know. But now I go, well, that's not worth my energy. That's wasting my energy. And I now brush it off and say, well, they must be dehydrated. And I don't get upset. I don't feel it. And we just move on. But when something serious happened, and you know, in a lot of families, a lot of serious like illness or deaths happened in the past year and a half, that is something that takes a little bit of time. Wow. But do not stay there. Do not get stuck in it. You have your one life that we know of to live and make the most of it. Live your life to the fullest.
Ah, beautiful. What a wonderful world, right? That's a song. And that's something that we have to achieve every day, right? Like remembering that.
Yes, remembering that. And sometimes it's hard to see when you're in the midst of a crisis. Right. Or a challenge. Sometimes it's a crisis, sometimes it's a problem. Most of the time they're challenges. And when you're in the midst of it, it's hard to remember sometimes. But my goal is to, and I'm not always achieving it, but I'm striving to, when I go to bed at night, to go to bed with, this was a day worth living.
Right. Right. It's like in Spanish, I would say that I use an exercise that is called notas lo que notas, right? It's like that you have to be aware of the day, right? The good things that happen to you, right? The learning points, right? The insights that you have, the people that you talk to, right? Yeah. And you always finish this exercise asking yourself, right? If this had been the last day of your life, yeah, would you feel, how would you feel, right? Was beautiful. It worth it, right?
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Your favorite song, Connie?
My favorite song is You Are Beautiful. It's an older song, but I love it because people do not know that they are beautiful. Every one of you is beautiful.
And there are some songs that I remember with the word beautiful. There is one by Christina Aguilera, right? Beautiful,
Yeah, I don't know it, but I will listen at it once we're finished. Yeah.
right? Another one that is sung by Sarah Brightman,
I
right?
love, yeah, beautiful singers. Yeah. And it's just a realization because I think, and I don't know in Mexico, but definitely in America and Northern Europe, people either dismiss themselves, like I'm not important, or this is okay, it's not important that you have achieved it, next, right? So, or they have sometimes notions about I'm not lovable or I'm not good enough or people wouldn't like me. And that all is encompasses in you are beautiful. You are beautiful just the way you are.
Right.
And with a growth focused open mind, you can stay that way always and forever.
Oh my God, it's wonderful talking to you, my dear Connie. I I really thank you for this talk, and please tell us something that we can pay attention to. You have given us a lot of information, but tell us a little bit more. How can we be more present? How can we access to the power of transformation to be here, right? To be more beautiful.
It is when you're a child, right? No matter where you grow up, no matter the circumstances, really. But children have this capacity, this ability to dream about better things for some, to dream about where they want to go, what they want to achieve, who they want to be, right? And when you have children or you have you are around young children, they tell you, right? But somehow along the way, we adults think we have to make sure they live in reality, and we're kind of squash their dreams. And I would invite all of you to access that childlike you again and start dreaming. What do you want to do, to be, to see, to experience? What is it that you really, really want? In every area of life. And some people say, yeah, in the relationships, I'm stuck with this partner. So it's not everything I want, but that's the wrong reaction. Remember, it has to start with you. If you want to create a different relationship or make a difference in your relationship, it has to start with you, with your energy, your strategy, in the willingness to try something else. So start dreaming about what you want to have. And the saying is, when you reach for the moon, the worst you can have is land in the stars, at the stars. So just go for it. Do we always have everything we want? No, we don't. But if you have for 80% consistently the life you want, you're doing really, really well. The 20% we can handle. If 80% is really great, we can handle that 20% easily. And sometimes you hit that 100%, but I do not believe that is at a consistent level. So enjoy the beautiful moments you have, because we have two sides. There's the beautiful side and that in the other side, right? I lack of another word. But if you have 80% in the beautiful side, 20% you can just deal with it.
So let's be child again, right?
Yes, yes,
Let's
yes.
start dreaming, closing your eyes, and get access to what we really want to be, what we really want to have. No,
Yeah.
to have the possibility of going back to friends, right? And keep your friends. That's important, right? Friends.
Very, very important. And Ricardo, if I may, I have an example, right? I have been doing remote viewing, whether you know that or not. It's method developed by university, used by secret agency, used by the CIA. It's a method where a group of people can, with accessing a meditative state and certain key points, a method, they can travel to time and space,
Wow.
and can bring back data. So
Wow.
at first, when I heard that, I was going, well, that can't be true. But I did it numerous times, and it's really true. In order to have the data to be true, you have to have a group, because it's easy to misinterpret, right? But you can travel to space and time. Maybe that's too far out for some people, but it's a nice way of expanding your mind too. Now, my back then 11-year-old son wanted to do that course as well. And when he did his first journey, he came out of it. He says, Mom, I do this all the time.
Wow.
So to my point, right? As a child, you have such an open mind, such abilities that you forget or you think they're not appropriate to have as an adult person. Wow. And that doesn't mean you have to live as a child for the rest of your life right now. Not what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
But at times in a meditation, or when you're sitting at the beach or in a park, to just access that. Let yourself dream again. Let yourself be open like a child again for moments in your day, moments in your week.
Oof. The book that we need to read. Your recommendation. I mean, the most important book that you can recommend.
The most important book. I am a voracious reader, so I read so many books. I do not know. It comes and goes with me. At this moment, I'm really interested in marketing. You know, I never have really focused on it. So I have great
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I know, right? And then, you know, I have books about spirituality. I have books about anything. So that is a hard thing. And may I think about it, and I'll send it to you.
Perfect.
Couple of book recommendations.
And I will write it here in the comments.
Yeah,
right?
perfect.
Like the books that are recommended by Connie.
Yeah.
Something that I believe in is the power of words.
Yeah.
Right? What are the words that you want to say and to finish this program today?
And the power of words, it's 7% of your communication, right? But words can either build you up or tear you down.
Wow.
So use your words wisely and use your words kindly, no matter the situation you're in. And when you use them wisely and kindly, not only do you make yourself feel good, but you also make the people across from you feel good.
Thank you for all these words, for these minutes that you were here with us, my dear Connie. You'll be back. Absolutely. You'll be back to the program. You're always invited.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in Mexico.
I'll see. How do you say that? Hasta la vista?
Hasta la vista, baby. No, that's Schwarzenegger. Thank you very much, Connie. Thank you very much. One of the best coaches in the world, Connie Osterholt. It's a powerful coach. Transform. I don't know how to express it, but when you speak with her half an hour, it's like, wow, it gives you lots of insights, powerful ideas, and wonderful human being. Thank you, Connie.
Thank you, Ricardo, for this opportunity and your kind words. Thank you. Lots of love, big hugs, and see you soon.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Connie, and we'll meet again very soon.
Absolutely.
Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.